Number 2 asks us to sketch some of our basic graphs, sines, and inverse trig functions, inverse trig functions. We don't have to label them, but do at least draw the asymptotes if there are asymptotes. So the sine doesn't have asymptotes. Remember, sine is just your basic sine wave, something like that. Cosecant is tied to sine. Anywhere sine 0 is where it has an asymptote. So I can see there's going to be an asymptote there, and then another one over here somewhere, and another one over here. And then the way cosecant works is it's going to be a graph in between there like that. Okay. Cotangent, this one, because this is cosine over sine, it'll also have asymptotes where sine is 0. And then it crosses here. So this is what I put the asymptotes there. Crosses at pi over 2. And so this is actually the interval 0 to pi, even though we weren't asked to label it, or that's where that lands. Sine inverse. Remember, basically, we're trying to draw the sine graph along the y-axis. So it would come through, bend like that, and then bend like that, and it would keep going, but we stop because it wouldn't be a function if I kept going. So there's sine inverse, and it stops. So you should make sure you label that or include that, that it's solid stopping point. Cosine, remember, it starts out at 1, and then it starts to do the wave. Would keep going if we wanted to draw more. Cosine inverse, just like sine inverse above, I'm going to draw the cosine graph along the y-axis. So remember, cosine starts out, and then it would come this way and start to bend back, but we'll stop it there. So something like that. Secant is tied to the cosine graph. Wherever cosine is 0 is where secant has its asymptotes. Well, remember, cosine is 0 at pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2, so something like that. And so secant comes in like that, and then there's part down here, these are arrows, and then another half over here that comes towards that asymptote. And then tangent inverse, this one has horizontal asymptotes, and it's basically your tangent kind of drawn sideways, and here is tangent, we're about to draw it. It has asymptotes at minus pi over 2 and pi over 2, and then the graph does something like that. It's like I said, the same shape as this one over here.